kind of lifestyle we've been living for the 24 years of our life, sir. We have been biologically programmed to think that it is all easy, it's easier to do it this way.
Absolutely, yes.
So instead of, we haven't been having any sort of classes.
Quick question, sorry to interject, quick question. Do you think you all have been polluted by the biological element, or is it our parents' generation?
Yes, sir.
You're also?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Sir, and so we haven't been receiving any sort of education. We've had civics, for in our curriculum during our academy.
The 8th standard.
Yes, sir. But then other than that, we have really and we're not aware of a foolproof organization like Fifth Pillar. We have been knowing.
How do you know Fifth Pillar is foolproof?
So as you.
I'm sorry to be very rhetoric, but there lies again another problem. Tamil is wrong. You understand Tamil? Okay. Kannal kaanvathu poi, kaadal kettathu poi, theera visaarikkadhu. Investigate before you believe something. Anyway, I see your point. Go ahead. But how many of you have proactively, out of self-interest, before Anna Hazare started his campaign, how many of you have proactively, out of self-interest, taken initiative to find out if there is an organization in India that is fighting corruption? Can I join them? How many of you have done that?
So after watching the movie Onion, I actually seriously had a vision.
I know what you would have done. You would have gone and seen if there's really onion.com.
But actually, to my surprise, there were some people who actually tried to start something like that, sir.
Okay.
Actually, that movie made a revolution in some way or the other. But then it didn't.
Sure, for me, see, I don't think it is a shame to admit in a public forum like this. For me, the motivation was Gentleman and an Indian. There are 2 movies during my days. Like that movie inspired him. But the inspiration, if you allow it to die, it will take only 2 to 3 months. Because after that, there will be another half a dozen movies come. We got to do something. The movies that come in that manner are meant to provoke our anger, provoke our thoughts. But then the action has to be from within. So, yeah.
So what I'm trying to say, what I'm suggesting is probably you should start implementing this, within children.
Yes.
Probably within schools or something. What they do in Singapore, they have after their 10th grade, I think they go through this, they have this in the curriculum where they go through this social service thing. So I think that should be implemented in.
Absolutely. What's your name?
Sana.
Sana, absolutely, I agree with you. This is exactly what we are doing. In the last 7 years of field work, there are some best practices that we have found out. There are some bad ideas that we have shunned. We have stopped doing certain things in the last 6-7 years because it didn't seem to work. The best thing that is working is going to the schools and colleges, and more than the colleges, the schools, because they are very open-minded and fresh, and that is where the challenge lies.
On a daily basis, yes.
See that again, I want to introduce at this juncture Sindhu, my colleague. She is a youth coordinator at the Chennai headquarters of Fifth Pillar. She and her colleagues in her team, the youth team and the projects team, they have come out with 2 programs. One is called Mark It Out. What they do is they engage young volunteers from schools and colleges, and they go to every apartment building or street and knock every door and talk about Fifth Pillar, talk about Zero Rupee Note, talk about RTI, and tell them next time somebody demands a bribe and you think you're helpless, contact us. This is one program. Another program that Sindhu has conceived, and she's working with a couple of our senior colleagues, talking to the government of Tamil Nadu, talking to the government of India. We have not started that yet. It is in the infancy stage. We want to incorporate this in the textbook, at least if not a full chapter, at least a page or at least a box where strong, harsh words are imprinted, where the child realizes that taking a bribe is a shameful act. It is equivalent to stealing and begging, because no self-respecting government official will say, I am stealing, I am begging. They will only say, I make 40,000 as a salary, I make 2 lakhs on the side. They are proud to say that because they think it is a matter of pride. I know a relative of mine for whom marriage alliance was happening, the negotiation. They said, 18,000 சம்பளம் சைடு 40 ரூபாய் வருதுன்னு சொல்லி கல்யாணம் பேசுறாங்க. கேவலமா இருக்க வேண்டாம், அசிங்கமா இருக்க வேண்டாம். அது இல்ல, அது இல்லாத இது வந்து both side relatives உட்கார்ந்து இருக்கும்போது I heard this thing. I was 15 years younger than today. I didn't know what to do. It just stuck in my mind. I didn't do anything about it. I was not angry on that day. It was just another casual conversation. If it was today, I would have walked out of the room and I would have said, I will not be part of this negotiation of the marriage alliance. But that day I couldn't do anything. I had a friend whose father was admitted in the Coimbatore GH. The father was going to die. He had a terminal illness. He was going to die. He was kept in a ward that had a window straight exposed to the sunlight. And he was already going through a painful experience. He requested his son, my friend, to talk to the ward boy to move to a different bed that is not by the window. And my friend approached that ward boy and asked, and he said, "Appa innu 10 naal 15 naal mela uyirodu irukka maata sir. Edukku ipo poi maathikittirna?" First thing, first response. Then my friend got angry. On that day, I also didn't get angry. On that day, I didn't get angry because I knew, like Cherian and Sailesh, that it is a norm. So it is justified that he is asking that, saying like that, because majority of the government officials are insensitive to people's needs, on a day-to-day needs. So I didn't get angry, but my friend got angry. You know what he said? பரவாயில்ல, அவர் எத்தனை நாள் உயிரோடு இருக்காருன்றதை பற்றி நீங்கள் கவலைப்பட வேண்டாம், வேற பெட்டு மாற்றி கொடுக்க முடியுமா முடியாதான்னு சொல்லுங்க சார். அவன் என்ன தெரியுமா சொன்னான் அந்த வார்ட் பாய்? அவர் உயிரோடு இருக்கிற ஒவ்வொரு நாளைக்கு 500 ரூபாய் கொடுங்க சார், மாற்றி தரேன். And my friend paid. And he died. And today I am using this as an incident in my college speeches. And even today, if you want to go from Chennai to Coimbatore, it costs only 300 or 400 rupees by train or bus, 500 rupees. In those days, 20 years back, moving a patient from one bed to there, every day 500 rupees. Imagine how deeply it has seeped into our system. It is a psychological thing, it's a cultural thing, it's a biological thing, it is a genetical thing, I don't deny. That is why we need to do some hard working on this problem. Ajit, how long can we go to the end of the program? Do we need a break? 5-minute break? Take a break and then start with the presentation. Thanks for the patience so far. If you all can bear with me for another probably 30 to 45 minutes, we can finish the RTA. The RTA is a tool. It is a weapon. It is like a knife. If you know how to use a knife, you can cut the vegetables and the fruits properly. If you don't know how to use a knife, you will cut your fingers. And that is why some RTA, before Sailesh or Cherian or somebody new starts a campaign against the RTA Act, I will put a disclaimer now. There have been some RTA activists that have been killed. Bangalore, Pune, Bombay, even in Chennai, Tiruvannamalai. But my answer to that question is, every year in Tamil Nadu, more than 2,000 people get killed by lorries. And in Tamil Nadu, only less than 5 people have been killed for using RTI. And these 5 people also have not been killed because they used RTI. They have been killed because there were other reasons which I have discussed after the presentation. RTI is not a dangerous thing. It is how you use it, how not to use it. So it is like the knife. If you use it wrongly, you can cut your fingers. So we'll take a 5-minute break and we will reconvene again. Let us keep it really 5 minutes and we will reconvene in 5 minutes and we will start. Explanatory. So what I'm going to do is, I'm not going to go into too many details of the points. I'll rather give you the link, or if any of you have a USB drive or a stick, you can, you're welcome to take a copy of the presentation. You can also find it on the website. If you don't find it on the website, send an email. What I would rather like to do is share with you some success stories of how people from different demographics have used the RTI Act and what they have achieved for themselves, for their families, or their street, or for their society, or for the country. And then we will go into some nuances of how a weapon can be used in a very strategic manner. So that is not told in the presentation. The presentation is like plain English, so you can go through the slides at leisure. So the Right to Information Act was passed in the year 2000. And before this act was passed, there was another act in India called the Official Secrecy Act. This Official Secrecy Act was implemented by the British in 1921 for the purpose of keeping the Indian citizen as a slave by not divulging any information about how they are running their government. So if the citizen asks a question, even after independence, even our governments after 1947 used to tell, we cannot tell you based on the Official Secrecy Act. So we cannot ask any question of the government. That act was buried, literally buried by the implementation of the Right to Information Act, because this act says any citizen of India can ask a question seeking information, not a question, any number of questions seeking information about the functioning of a government department. So let us see some examples of what kind of questions you can ask. You and I, Sailesh and Cherian and I can ask questions like, what is the name of the passport officer in Coimbatore? What is the date on which this passport officer assumed charge? How many passports have been issued from that date until now? How many applications are submitted to the Coimbatore passport office from the date of assumption of office by this passport officer? And out of those applications, how many passports have been issued? And you can ask another question saying, how many days has this passport officer taken leave of absence? In the last 1 year or last 2 years or from the date he joined duty. And there is an officer called Public Information Officer in every government department of India from 25th October 2005. On 25th October 2005, when the Right to Information Act was passed in Parliament, the Act mandated every government department to appoint an officer called Public Information Officer. That Public Information Officer is mandated again to provide information to the citizen within 30 days of a citizen asking questions through a petition, through a written petition, not a verbal petition. If that Public Information Officer does not provide you the information that you have sought in your written petition within 30 days of time, he is liable for a penalty of 250 rupees per day up to a maximum of 100 days. That amounts to 25,000 rupees. There is a fellow Indian citizen by name Gloria